Subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon for all the latest news and updates.
I'm with Shehla Rashid and Umar Khalid, and whatever happened yesterday, the murder of Gauri Lankesh triggered a massive outrage, and now we've come to a point where it is not shocking because all the voices of dissent are being suppressed. So what do you have to say about it? Because you also know, both of you also know her personally.
See, first of all, this is a very clear message to all dissidents. This is a clear message to anyone who opposes politics of communalism, politics of caste oppression. This is a clear message to them that you must shut up. But I think that it is going to have the opposite effect. We are seeing protests unfold in all parts of the country. I mean, the protests are happening for two reasons. I mean, one, people are experiencing the attack as a very immediate attack. I mean, we, for example, feel that this is as John Dayal said, it's a bullet for each one of us and not just for Gauri Lankesh. At the same time, Gauri was personally, she was in touch with a lot of people. She helped a lot of people. She was very kind. So no one had any sort of personal reason to kill her, right? So this is very clearly a political assassination. So the fact that she has touched so many lives will also, we hope, sort of, bring people out on the streets to speak against this kind of fascist oppression.
See, just adding on to that, I think this also is an act of terror. It's an act of terror meant to spread terror, meant to spread fear, meant to spread panic. And earlier they used to threaten someone to make someone shut up. Now the killing is also a threat. So they kill one, they threat several others that this can happen to you. And it's now followed a pattern from Kalburgi, Dhabolkar, Pansare, now Gauri Lankesh. And it could be any one of us tomorrow. And it's very important at this juncture to keep that rage within us alive. What has happened also somewhere is that all these names have just become slogans, have just remained slogans where they've gone on a killing spree. It's moment to say that enough is enough and to take on the streets. And one thing is to be very clear right now, some people would have executed the act, but there's some others who would have planned the act, who would benefit by this act, who would sort of by shutting up people, who would have their rule more secure. And that is something we want to make more insecure. I mean, if RSS and all these Hindutva organizations whom Gauri Lankesh consistently exposed, if they think that by killing her and by sending a message to us, they're going to have a very secure existence where they can go on a rampage and on a mayhem like the way they have been doing across the country, I mean, they're mistaken. This is going to intensify the protests. We are not scared. They're meant to scare us. We are not scared.
What I've noticed is that student activists, people like you who are protesting, have become the soft targets. Anything happens, you guys are pulled. Where are the left liberals? Selective outrage. What do you have to say about it?
No, I mean, in a sense, it also shows how scared the government is of anyone who is speaking the truth. I mean, recently, for example, when Nirmala Sitharaman became the defense minister, so everyone is comparing Nirmala Sitharaman to people like me, people like Kanaya and Umar, and we are just students. So this also had some, I mean, you're comparing a cabinet rank minister to a student. So this also shows that somehow JNU is consistently, or student movement in general, they are consistently anxious about it. Because we are speaking the truth and, we are not diluting what we are saying, we are not being politically correct. So that at some level shows, how scared the government is of anyone who is speaking the truth, I feel.
Umar, you were called equivalent of an anti-nationalist on national television, and also, of course, at the receiving end of trolls and such outrage. What do you feel? Does it, scare you, or does it enrage you even more?
See, one thing I've been asked, and recently another journalist was asking me that, were you aware of the fact that Gauri Lankesh was getting threats? And one thing both of us said, that threats have become so normal and so routine that if I meet someone, I don't tell someone that I'm getting threats. I'm getting threats every day, online, offline, people telling me that you will be killed and I am the one who's going to kill you. So that's become quite routine. And how it begins with the profiling of a person. It begins with how someone is branded as an anti-national for someone's views. In Gauri Lankesh's case, she was also branded as anti-Hindu because she was speaking against caste oppression. And you create a kind of a situation where it becomes okay to kill someone, where someone becomes dispensable. So this lynch mob and these killer squads are not just confined to the ones who go and do the act. It's as much confined to the ones who are sitting in the news channels and quote-unquote respectable news anchors and quote-unquote respectable, spokespersons of political parties. They're all culpable in this kind of a situation where we have come today.
So what do you think is the way out? Because I also, not only me, there are many others who think that it's also about the laws, the draconian laws of sedition, defamation. Don't you think it should start from the root and we should start working on the laws and also try sensitizing people about it?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that the most immediate need is to hit the streets, frankly, because we will be able to effect change on any issue, be it on the law side or be it on any other side, only when we get organized and we come under a united kind of solidarity, and we express our outrage collectively. I think that's the biggest challenge. It's only then that we can ask. I mean, sure, under the Congress government we were aiming high, we were asking for repeal of sedition and criminal defamation, etc. But now it's very basic. I mean, your right to eat, your right to say, I mean, on a train today, if you're reading a newspaper, if it's a radical newspaper, you feel scared. I mean, you think twice. If you're reading a radical book, you feel scared because you might be lynched. So it's just very basic right now. So I think that we will be able to push back only if we organize and collectively come together.
I mean, the radical newspaper is a far thing. I mean, even having a beard or having a skull cap in public. I mean, people did a report of how the same train where Junaid was lynched, Muslims were scared to wear the skull cap. So it's come at a very immediate level where you can be attacked for being what you are. You have to be of a particular type. You have to look the same. You have to speak the same thing. You have to think the same thing, and that is what is the fascist ideology at the end of it. That one leader, one nation, one culture, one religion, one language, one kind of thought process. Even thoughts are criminalized. Even you cannot question. So all of this is culpable and sort of in creating the situation where, as I said, it was Gauri today. It could be Shehla tomorrow, or me tomorrow, or you tomorrow. None of us are safe. It's not just.
Isn't it ironic that right to privacy has just been upheld as a fundamental right, and somebody has just been killed because of expressing her private opinions?
Well, that is one thing. I mean, if you see any law, the government will it will twist it to suit its purpose. So, for example, what is the most recent application of right to privacy? There is in JNU there is election going on right now, and one of the candidates, Ankit Roy, he is one of the people who assaulted Najib. He was part of the lynch mob that assaulted Najib. And, when the election committee tried to cancel his candidature and sought information from the proctor's office that, we want a paper proof of, his conviction or his indictment, the proctor said, oh, well, I am not answerable to the election committee and this is his right to privacy. Well, this is not right to privacy. He has been indicted for assaulting a guy who disappeared the next day. So, I mean, this will always be put to use. I mean, for example, there was someone on Twitter, actually, I think, what is her name? Madhukeshwar, who said that the Baba raping a woman in his gufa is a right to privacy. This is, I mean, it's just...
See, law is one aspect of the story, but one also has to understand that this regime is also operating through extra legal mechanisms by cultivating lynch mobs, by sort of creating these killer squads who go and who have patronage and who go and do these things. And in each of these instances, I do not know what's going to unfold, and I hope our movement is able to ensure justice to Gauri in terms of the ones who are involved in doing this barbaric act are brought to justice. But what we do know from Kalburgi, Pansare, Dhabulkar as to how the cases are framed, how cases are weakened, or for that matter in the case of Junaid, Akhlaq, Pehlu Khan, I mean in each of these instances you see all those people who are involved in doing these things are being given bail, being let free. We've seen how instances of, for example, Rohini Salyan, the public prosecutor, she said how she was being pressurized to go soft on the Hindutva terrorists, Sadhvi getting bail, Purohit getting bail. So there is an impunity to these kind of extra legal goons and extra legal terrorists, and I would want to use that word. I mean, this is terror. This is the face of terror. The photo that I saw of Gauri Lankesh yesterday, I mean, I know her personally. I mean, that is meant to terrorize us. Let there be no qualms about that.
And my last question would be, do you think it's time to put to rest the left versus right debate and just focus on something which is wrong? And let's not say this is the fault of the right, this is the fault of the
See, the debate today is between democracy and fascism. The debate today is between justice and injustice. The debate today is between something that is wrong and something that is right. So that is the debate. And all of us, we may be leftists, we may be Gandhians, we may be Ambedkarites, and we may be X, Y, Z things. If we are up, if we want to live in this country, if you want to live a life of dignity, if I want to ensure that no one is killed for her beliefs, for the way she looks, for the way he looks, for what she eats, that is something that we all have to come together, and that is for me the biggest task of the day. And I'm saying this as a leftist.
No, it's actually quite curious why the right wing would justify such a thing, because this can be used against any journalist. I mean, it's not like the first killing that has happened in independent India. Starting with Gandhi, I mean, this is something that has consistently been done. I mean, the right wing has always used, violence to suppress dissenting voices. But I mean, as you rightly pointed out, this is not right wing. This is just violence. I mean, this is just not belief in democracy. So I guess it's just that.
Okay, that was Shehla Rashid. Thank you so much for joining us.